What's up? Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by Points Bet. Use that code CHGO to live your bet life. What's up, guys? Adam Hoge, Nicholas Moreano. We got Will DeWitt in the bubble down there. If you're watching on YouTube, what's going on, guys?
Nothing much, Adam. How are you?
You know, I'm a little flustered this morning. First of all, now it looks like it's sunny outside, but it was foggy as all hell in Chicago today. My son likes to say froggy for some reason. He'll be like, it's froggy outside.
Okay.
So I do get a kick out of that when it is foggy. And then it took like 45 minutes to park today.
That, and I had about an hour and a half drive from Vernon Hills to here, so I don't know what was going on.
I don't know either, because I also drove from Vernon Hills. It took 40 minutes.
So, and then it took me forever to park too. So it's like I thought I had an early start to my Tuesday, and traffic said no, not today.
And Will, how is traffic at your house?
From the upstairs to the downstairs, a little congestion with the baby, but overall not too bad. But by the way, Adam, that's just a Nick thing. We kind of rendezvous sometimes between locations, and my map will say turn right, and you'll save 20 minutes, and Nick just keeps on going.
Maybe
left.
it's a Samsung thing because it's I don't know. Maybe it's a Samsung thing.
That would explain it.
I use Google Maps. So I think you should have that app available to you, and you wouldn't have that problem. But guys, I'm frustrated too. What's this headline about Cole Kmet for? Where's the horse that hike?
Who? That's actually a really good segue to what I want to start the show with, though, because you had the national championship game last night. Congrats to Kansas for getting the win, and then that's followed up with one shining moment. So I wanted to talk about one shining moments, not only in Bears history, but also in our own athletic lives. I don't want to say careers, just lives. But Jesper Horsted might qualify with that catch he had in Vegas this year. That was a nice touchdown catch.
He may, but that's not the one that came to mind for me, Adam. If I'm looking at a Bears, one shining moment, I'm going all the way back to 2009. It was a game that I was at, Bears-Eagles, and it was the first Khalil to make his impact. Khalil Bell, that 72-yard run to help bring the Bears to the victory. I remember everyone thought it was Matt Forte in the building. Like, oh, look at Matt go, and you see on the Jumbotron, like, that was not Matt Forte. But Khalil Bell, 72-yard touchdown, helps the Bears beat the Eagles. I believe that was Monday Night Football or Sunday night. It was definitely a night game, but that's definitely the first one that came to mind.
Mine also happened in prime time for the Bears moment I'm thinking of, and it's Devin Aromashodu against the walk-off touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings. I was at that game. My uncle took me. I think it was a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken. First Monday night game I've ever been to, and Devin Aromashodu right down the middle of the field. Color connects with him, and I don't know if he really did much after that, but I feel like everybody remembers Devin Aromashodu from that play.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you say that. Although that is a name I probably would have never thought of again in my life had you not said it right there, though.
I'm glad I can bring it up.
But mine, I got to go with my guy, Ahmad Merritt, who's now coaching wide receivers at Lake Forest. But the end around he had in the playoff game against the Eagles back in 2002. So the 2001 season, January of 2002 playoffs, the Bears lost that game, but their only offensive touchdown in that game was an end around to Ahmad Merritt that he scored, and I believe that was his only touchdown in the NFL.
Wow. So that's definitely one shining moment. You're done. But we also wanted to do personal ones too as well. So Adam, how about you kick it off?
Okay, so I'm actually going to give you two, which I guess
shining moments
is not the point in the segment. But actually, I'll just give you one. That's fine. I've dunked one time in my entire life on a legitimate 10-foot hoop. Okay, it was in college at Wisconsin. Wisconsin had a player that was there briefly, but he was from Illinois. His name was Darren Williams, different one. But he was at Wisconsin. He was hyped up player. He was like 6'5". I think he ended up transferring to Northern Kentucky or something like that. But he was on campus my freshman year, and he was at the gym, and we just started playing a game of horse. Like me versus him. Okay. And I could shoot okay, so I was hanging with him, and he was getting frustrated. So we're right at the end, he can eliminate me with one more letter, and he just takes the ball, and he goes up for this massive dunk and just slams it. It's like,
that's
gonna do it. Seems like it's that should be against the rules. You just dunk like against somebody who can't dunk. But I was always close, and so I'm not gonna say it was pretty, but I did get up there and get the ball in over the rim for my only career dunk to keep it going.
What ended up happening?
I still lost the game,
but hey.
that dunk was my one shining moment.
That's awesome. I can't say that I've ever dunked. Will, so what about you?
Yeah, you would need like a ladder, wouldn't you, Nick?
I got hops. give me a couple more inches. And I think I got it.
5'6",
5'8".
I saw you during leg day. You got a vertical going for you. But no, my one shining moment was 8th grade when I was still playing Pop Warner football. It was the year I did cross country and football at the same time. We were losing to the town is called Trident North. I actually think it's like 3 different towns put together. There's only like 5 seconds left, 90 yards to go, and I'm playing quarterback that season. And I look over to my coach for the signal, and he gives me a fist, which means call your own play. And he kind of gave up on us, as you can tell. We had this end around play to the running back that kept working to the left, but we just couldn't break it. And I thought, if we get one more blocker, I think we can do this. So I tell everyone in the huddle, A, do your damn job, and B, we're going to fake this pitch, and I'm going to go behind the running back, and he's going to be my next lead blocker, and let's go win this game. And that's exactly what happened. All I remember, I just black out, and I'm getting to the end zone area. I have to dive over to the guy for the pylon, roll in there, and I just hold the ball up, and everyone picks me up and kind of, walk off style. And I have a photo of that. It's one of my fondest memories. So very first thing that came to mind, that's my one shining moment, like a 90-yard running touchdown scramble for a quarterback walk-off style. Only one of the whole year, by the way.
That's way,
nice.
That's way cooler than mine. Nobody believes mine, by the way. I'm looking at the comments. Nobody is believing me. I don't think people realize that I'm actually 6'3" and can still touch the rim.
According to Olin, you're not 6'3", but I think Adam is a legit
but Olin,
6'3".
Yeah, Olin didn't measure me. I'm not. I should actually be able to dunk a lot easier than It's actually sad that I've only dunked once in my life because I am tall enough that I should be. People want receipts. You know what? I can't give you one. Nobody was videotaping this. I do have another one with receipts though, which was we used to play. So there's 2 student newspapers at Wisconsin. One was called the Daily Cardinal. One was called the Badger Herald. And every year we play a flag football game against them, and a softball game in the spring. So I was on the Daily Cardinal staff, and it was like a 1-run game, and I made like a diving catch at the end of the game to win it, to seal it. There is a photo of that. I will tweet it out later for those of you who want receipts on that one. So, but that's pretty much, that was going to be my other one shining moment. So my 1.5 shining moments, we'll call it, since nobody believes the first one. Go ahead.
Will we see that in the CHGO softball league? I mean, we have that going, so that's going to be fun. I think it starts.
I'm going to have to be the ringer on the team.
Okay.
I just cannot commit to being there every week, but I'll show up every once in a while.
Cool.
Get you some slap singles and catch the ball. That's all I can do. I'll play
Sounds
solid
good.
defense and get on base.
Okay, we'll take it.
Just don't expect any power.
My one shining moment, it was freshman year, first touchdown I ever scored, and I believe it was against Glenbrook South, Glenbrook North, one of the Glenbrooks. We're down, Waukegan. We weren't very good at football at all. And our quarterback, his nickname, I think it was Booty. I don't know the exact reasoning.
John David Booty?
Just Booty. That's it. Like, hey, Booty. And then I was running a wheel route from the slot, and it just so happened that the corner was playing too far up, got behind him, and I see the ball. I'm like, oh, this is actually coming to me. Elevate over the defender, and he's like draped over just my waist, and I'm not the biggest guy, still not. And I was able to, just kind of shove him on the ground and just run down the right sideline. And all my teammates are, like, going towards the end zone. They pick me up. It was, like, one of the few touchdowns we scored all season. So to score on, like, a 70-yard pass play, and I think we still lost by, like, 2 touchdowns. But in that moment, we were winners for a few seconds. So that would definitely be the one shining moment.
That's awesome.
Nice little wheel route.
Yeah. Love it.
I like how you guys are on like actual teams, and I'm just like, yeah, I was hanging out at the gym and then playing in a softball.
Hey, you dunked.
A newspaper softball game, and here comes Kevin Kaduk into our.
Oh, what's he saying?
He gave us a super chat. He says The Badger Herald is greater than the Daily Cardinal.
Weird, because I
Right
think
there?
we went 8-0 against them in the 4 years I was there.
Oof.
Wow.
Ooh, Kevin.
I mean, it
Where's
was-
Kevin?
I mean, in that rivalry, we were the Packers. You were
the
Bears.
team that we're actually going to be
Yeah.
talking about in a little bit.
But Kevin and I weren't there at the same time, so maybe they were better when he was there. But sorry, that's all I can say. All right, we do have some things we want to get to football wise for you today, but we thought that was a good idea coming out of the national championship game last night, and it was a heck of a comeback.
it hurt to watch, Adam, because I was betting all year long on UNC, all tournament long, and getting some decent money and using PointsBet, of course. I decided to take the over on Caleb Love, 18 points scoring. It would have gotten me I think $500 or something like that. And he was injured. That was the thing, though.
Oh, he was?
He
When
was
did he get
injured.
hurt?
Yeah, he injured his ankle, and then there was something going on with his back. I noticed early on. I'm like, oh, this is not good. Caleb Love isn't doing what he needs to do, and he finished with 13. And I actually ended up losing some money, but it was a good game though. I think Kansas was down 16 points at one point throughout the game, and come back to win the national championship.
All right. Well, there was a big trade that went down yesterday in the NFL. And I don't know how it's really going to affect the Bears, but it's like the Eagles have to be involved in a trade in early April every single year.
Yep.
With the draft. So the Saints moved up, and for a trade that didn't involve any players, just a lot of picks moving around, a lot to sort through. But the Saints ended up with the 16 and the number 19 overall picks. The Eagles go back to 18, and I mean, there's a whole other amount of picks in there, but they end up getting another first-round pick next year. So
Yes.
for the Eagles, they had 3 first-round picks before, right? Now they have 2,
And
then they'll have 2 next year. So they might help them get in position for a quarterback next year when the quarterbacks are supposed to be a little bit better, and it gives them another year to look at Jalen Hurts, who I like, but is not necessarily, he's definitely in that category of young quarterbacks where you're going to have to make a tough decision on whether or not to pay him big money when you get to that point. And meanwhile, the Saints now have a couple picks at 16 and 19. And, man, it must be nice to have draft capital.
Must be nice.
But we don't know anything about that here.
Well, I look at how this maybe could affect the Bears with the Saints right now. Look at their needs. They just lost Teron Armstead, so you take a tackle off the board potentially. And they do need wide receiver help. So, I mean, if that is another wide receiver that comes off the board, because they're looking to still be competitive now. They were in on Deshaun Watson, right? So they wanted to go get a quarterback to compete right away. And now that you have 2 first-round picks in this year's draft, maybe they take one of those offensive players that the Bears wouldn't fall to them, but just takes another player of position of need from the Bears. So, yeah, another trade. But like you said, Adam, the Eagles are always involved in these things in April, March, whenever it happens. But, yeah, maybe that's how it can impact the Bears moving down the road.
And I think you guys hit it right on both sides. Looking at the Eagles, they're kind of spreading the wealth of that draft capital between the 2 years, having 2 first-round picks in each. And they gained that second-round pick in 2024, so that will take a little while, but that's still another high draft pick that they were able to put in their back pocket. And then for the Saints, this just screams to me like they're ready to win now, and they think they're just a couple of pieces away. It's why else would you give up next year's first round and then the second round in a couple of years? That's a lot of serious draft capital in your future. You're mortgaging right now, so they must have a few guys in their cloud in that area to kind of double dip a bit and really kind of make some headway. But yeah, I wish there was some draft capital here in Chicago to kind of play around with, move up, move down, a little bit of both, but not yet.
Like what the Eagles have done the last 2 off seasons in the situation they were in. I mean, they had to, make some tough decisions with their quarterback spot, but they managed to stay competitive last year despite trading back and acquiring all these first-round picks they have. I mean, it's actually very impressive. So they've put themselves – I actually thought that they should have been bigger players than the Deshaun Watson trade. Now, maybe they made the moral decision or whatever as a franchise to just not go down that road. But with all the draft capital they had, they could have offered the Houston Texans a lot up front. And maybe even thrown Hurts in the trade too, and given the Texans an upgraded quarterback. So they're sitting in a good spot for a franchise that was really high, then made the smart decision to move on from Carson Wentz. They're trying to reload on the fly, and meanwhile, they were a competitive team last year still with their new head coach Nick Sirianni.
And I feel like the NFC East too is who's going to win the division this year? I know the Cowboys are usually, they were the front runners obviously last year, but you never know with that division, just seeing how it kind of plays out and what the Eagles can potentially do. If Jalen Hurts does take that next step, the Bears will actually, face the Eagles this season. So we'll kind of see how they're like Will said, they're kind of looking, I think, towards the future too, getting that extra pick next year. But I think with the Eagles, it's all going to depend on how Jalen Hurts really progresses. If he can, then maybe they won't be looking into a quarterback next year. But that pick that they maybe just acquired could end up being their next quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, when I see this, it's just, to me, the Eagles don't have, I would say, the utmost confidence in Hurts. Just looking at this trade, and having a backup plan is not a bad thing, whatsoever. And as you guys mentioned, next year's quarterback class is definitely perceived to be stronger than this year's. So playing, the longer game here and having a fail-safe in case Hurts doesn't pan out or develop like, they would hope.
Yeah, absolutely. So, part of the reason why we're talking about this is big news in the NFL, but it just goes to show you that if you are the Bears, if you are Ryan Poles, a trade back maybe with one of those 2 second-round picks wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Just add extra picks, even if it ends up you don't have this first-round draft capital to be playing these big trades where you're adding another first-round pick next year, but you can be adding more and more picks, whether it's a third rounder or a second rounder next year, or a lot of times when if you're going to delay the pick you're getting for a year, you can end up getting a round up the next year. So that's something that could happen too. I think that they need to start drafting players as soon, sooner rather than later. But the more you start trading back, the more capital you can gain, and then continue to flip it for more capital next year maybe. And so I'm just, all these talks are great about trading up into the late first round to grab a wide receiver or whatever, but they just have so many needs. And I think that you're seeing, based on their free agent moves, they're not acting like a team that's desperate to go get one guy right now. Poles is being very measured and patient, and I think that would serve this franchise well in the draft as well.
You know what I think too, this patience, and let's say there was a trade back scenario and you do end up getting a pick into 2023's draft class. So I think that almost aligns with what the Bears are kind of foreseeing for the future for themselves. You can load up on draft capital and have the cap space. Maybe that, sets up for a really big 2023, but just again, echoing the patience part of it, maybe that's in the works for the Bears, but obviously we'll see if that comes to fruition.
And it would need to be something that at least I would want it to be worth our while, for Bears fans just looking at it. I wouldn't give up, say, this year's second to gain a fifth this year and then a second next year, or even a fourth this year and then that team's second next year. I'd rather just stay put at that case with those 2 second-round picks. I don't think you're going to get a first round for either of them. You'd still have to bundle, maybe get a little bit more back too, but I would, again, if you're going to make a move to draft down, it would need to definitely be something that the Bears can see as a launching pad for some moves down the line, and not just trading down to trade down and getting some picks that maybe you're not going to get an impactful player at.
Well, we got some fun over-unders on the upcoming season coming up next. Hey, speaking of over-unders, the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app. Use code CHGO when you sign up. And if you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So you get $2,000 in free bets, free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our great content, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. And if you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com. We will help you out. Your home for live in-play betting just got even better because PointsBet has live NBA same-game parlays, and for the first time ever, you can build those perfect live same-game parlays only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. Boost those live same-game parlays so you can watch live, parlay live, and boost live all with PointsBet. Now you can sign up in Illinois. Download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Our next partner is a product I use on a daily basis going on 12 days straight now, maybe 13, I forget. But I started taking Athletic Greens because I wanted to see what the hype was all about, and I've been taking them right before my morning workouts, and honestly, I can feel a difference right away. Olin says he can see the difference, but that's on Olin.
That's just him.
That's just him. Yeah. With 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, you are absorbing 75 quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help start your day off right. The mixture of ingredients helps your immune system, gives you energy, and improves your focus, and that's why I take my Athletic Greens to help me get through my busy day. What's awesome about Athletic Greens is that it costs you less than $3 a day, so you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than that cold brew habit. Also, it helps support better sleep quality and recovery, which we all definitely need. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/CHGO Bears to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutrition insurance.
And I want to know, if you're listening to us right now and you're not a member over at CHGO, like, what are you waiting for? Like, I would head over to allchgo.com and just sign up today because, you know, we have these podcasts and live shows and every team every single day, including post-game shows for, you know, when those seasons are live. I know all of us here at CHGO Bears are really looking forward to getting to the season and breaking down those Bears games come September. And on top of that, too, when you become a member, you get some of that premium written content for our members at allchgo.com. Of course, you get some free merchandise. Like if you go with the annual pass, like some dope merch for all the teams. I know Nick's family got his yesterday, and they look awesome. And again, members, you have a Discord that you can kind of join and talk with us. It's called the CHGO Lounge. There's different channels inside of there where you can talk about all the different teams that matter to you. And I love, you know, going in there every single day and talking to, you know, those members inside of the Bears channel and just kind of striking up a conversation, you know, with you as well. So again, you can head over to allchgo.com, become a member today and unlock all those goodies like the written content, the free shirt, get some of that dope merch, and hop into that Discord and talk to, you know, Nick, Adam, and myself.
All right, we're going to keep things rolling here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Time to place your bets. And we got some over-unders for the season. I'm intrigued where we're going to go with this. But who scores the first touchdown of the season? Now, I mean, it's a tough question. We don't even know who they're playing in week 1. You know, so feel free to, you know, you have the freedom to change this between now and September, just so you know, based on the matchups. Cool, I just want to make sure that's clear. But first touchdown of the season, I'm going to go out on a huge limb here, David Montgomery.
Oof, what a limb that you went there. And if you're in the chat, too, definitely pick who you think is going to score the first touchdown with all these bets that we have here. Yeah. What's your reasoning for David Montgomery there, Adam? I don't think Yeah.
Well, I actually saw this being debated in the comments a few minutes ago. He is the best player the Bears have on offense,
that makes sense.
The grading out the film from last year confirms that. That's people. I'm actually surprised people have such polarizing opinions on David Montgomery. Like, I don't know why he can't just be a really good running back. I mean, nobody's claiming he's going in the Hall of Fame as a running back or anything like that, but he's a very valuable, good, durable player who's played through injuries, by the way, got back from a pretty significant knee injury really, like, pretty quickly last year, played well after all that. Like, I just accept him as a very good player that the Bears have on offense, and he does grade out as the best player. Do I think eventually he might be on a different team because the Bears might not be willing to pay him? Potentially. Should Justin Fields eventually be the best player on offense? You'd sure hope so. But at this point, David Montgomery is their best player still on offense, and he's a good running back. So I'm going to give him the ball. Unlike Matt Nagy sometimes down at the goal line where they decide to get all gimmicky, I'm just going to hand the ball off to him and let him score the first touchdown of the season.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I saw somebody, I think one person in the comments, Nunu Johnson. I think you've said Byron Pringle. I'm going Pringle to score the first touchdown because it's, April 5th, and I can say that right now, and there's not going to be many consequences. But, look, the Bears talked about how...
Come on, draw the play up. What are we looking at here? What's the play going to be?
I think we're just running a slant. We're running a slant route from... And Byron Pringle,
what are slant routes?
See, maybe we'll get some of those because you have Luke Getsy coming from
Bears
Green
don't run
Bay.
Slant routes?
Devontae Adams used to run them all the time. You bring in Luke Getsy. We'll actually see one of those.
Wait, are you saying if it's 3rd and 4 and you have a really good wide receiver, you just run a simple slant that the other team can't
That's
defend?
how it's supposed to work.
Is that what you're supposed to do?
I mean, ideally.
You must be watching Packer film.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. But I'm going Pringle. It's, on the outside, he's someone that can line up in the slot, outside, and the Bears raved about him down in, at the owners' meeting, right there, Adam. So
they got to rave about somebody.
This is true. This is true. So they were raving about Pringle. I'll take it for right now. April 5th, Byron Pringle's going to score the first touchdown.
I see Jackson in the chat. Give me a slant, baby.
There we go.
We're all dying for it over here in Chicago. For me, I'm right there with Adam, though. I'm going with David Montgomery. The first person that came to mind was Monty, and that's not really a surprise, right, Nick? Last year we did all of those game previews and who's going to be the MVP, and 6 times out of 10 it was Montgomery. The other 4 times it was Roquan Smith. So going with the best player here. If I had to draw up the play, Adam, I know you said you just won't get fancy and you'll just hand it off when you get down there near the goal line. I expect them to break one. Let's go for a 40-yard run. It's week 1. Guys on defense haven't really gotten to full-on tackling mode just yet. Montgomery's going to break through that contact. He's going to be fresh, playing with that chip on his shoulder contract year. So he's going to bust one week 1 and really make some headway there. So David Montgomery, first touchdown of the season. But I guess we get to change it. So check in a few months.
So wait, we're not gonna see him in the Wildcat like Matt Nagy used to do, where David Montgomery's getting the ball, and no, that's not gonna be the thing. All right,
Watch, they're gonna get the Bills week 1.
Oh, that's exactly what's gonna happen.
Nobody's gonna see it. All right, next one we have for you, Cole Kmet.
He was the graphic today. He is
the big guy we're talking about. It's not Jesper Horsted. It's Cole Kmet. Over under 3.5 touchdowns for Cole Kmet in his 3rd season. He had 0 last year.
Did not score.
0. And even worse, I didn't even look that up. I just kind of was like, yeah, he did not
wasn't
have
in the end
0.
zone.
He did not see him in the end zone. To his rookie year, though. And I got to say, a player I still like. A player I still like a lot. I think like many players on the list of guys we can go through, wasn't taken advantage of, has a skill set that I would hope Luke Getsy in the new offense can take advantage of more. So all that being said, I'm taking the under.
Did you see how Adam built up Cole Kmet and then brought him back down?
It's I'd like to see it go over. I still think the Bears are going to be an offense struggling to score a lot of touchdowns. And so, and I think they'll probably be diverse in who's scoring those. Ultimately, I think he's probably going to end somewhere right around 3. So I'm afraid to go over. 3 is actually the number we originally had it at, so I was going to do a push. But I think we made the right call to just add the hook on there. So I'm going to take the under on 3.5.
Just kind of looking at the chat, I think people are, having some higher expectations for Cole Kmet. I'm going over. I think there were a couple plays last season where you're like, man, Cole Kmet almost had. I think the first one that comes to mind, 49ers, was it Fred Warner, right in the middle of the end zone, and Cole Kmet, Justin Fields almost connect. It's like, I think that connection is going to be a little bit better this season for Fields, Kmet, and just them actually connecting and getting into the end zone. But I think we need to see it, to be completely honest, for a guy
he needs to show he can make tougher catches.
So we need to see that out of him. And being a second-round pick and being the first tight end, selected, like there's expectations for him. And, playing for his, hometown team, like you want to see it happen. I think with Luke Getsy, because the Bears are putting a lot on the scheme too, Adam, that's a big thing too. The scheme's going to make the players around him better, but I'm going to go over. I just have it at 4, so just barely over there, but I think Cole Kmet gets it.
Hey, if you're going to go for it, Nick. Let's go with 10, double digits.
All right.
Whoa.
No, but not me. I was saying if Nick's going to go with the over, he should just fully commit for it.
Reasonable
No,
expectations.
not me. God, no. I'm actually taking the over, though, and that's really just for his sake, because if he doesn't go over the 3 touchdowns, like, we're getting into bust territory here, guys. Adam, you hit it. 0 scores a year ago, only 1 as a rookie. And what really concerns me was the fact that he was the leading guy in the red zone for the Bears last year with 13 targets and 7 catches. Yet he's unable to convert any of those into scores. And if you look at like a Jimmy Graham, he caught 5 balls down there in the red zone. 4 of those were for touchdowns. So he needs to find a little bit of that Jimmy Graham magic for himself this year. I hope that comes to fruition, and that's why I'm taking the over, although I'm not going with like the double digits thing that I mentioned. I'll sit somewhere like 5 to 6, but really need to see it happen, because if not, again, like I'm starting to look at this as like a lost draft pick if he can't climb to that next level this season.
All right. See, and that's where I get a little like almost annoyed with like some of the Cole Kmet hate that's out there. And I know I'm just the one that just picked under on the touchdowns, but that's a different conversation than the receptions. This guy had 60 catches last year. 60 catches. Like, that's not nothing. In a horrible offense, he had 60 catches. That is far from a bust of a draft pick. But
if he goes this year and he goes scoreless again, Adam, then we can have that conversation.
But
that's what I'm saying.
He deserves some of the blame for not getting in the end zone last year, because there were some opportunities that he left out there. Like I said, he needs to learn how to make tougher catches. But I would put 20% of that blame on him, and the other 80 on the scheme and the coaching and some of the decision making. So for a guy who's still, sometimes expectations get too high when the Bears don't have a first-round pick. I always talk about this. Like, the second-round pick gets treated like the first-round pick. David Montgomery was a third-round pick. People forget that because he was the first pick the Bears had that year. So he gets treated like he's a first-rounder, like in terms of expectations, when in reality, he's a great third-round pick for a running back. Oh, yeah. That's why I like some of the hatred in the comments on the guy. I'm like, it's ridiculous. And same thing with Cole Kmet. My expectations for Cole Kmet were always Kyle Rudolph. Not Travis Kelce, not some of these ridiculous names that get thrown out there because of the Matt Nagy connection and the Chiefs and all that. It was Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph was a good tight end for the Minnesota Vikings for 10 years. That's what he was. He was great in the community, great in the locker room, a leader on that team, and Cole Kmet checks all those boxes. So, I'll let you guys take it from here, and I'll look up Kyle Rudolph's numbers, but I'm pretty certain that 60 catches, over 600 yards in year 2 of his career, yes, the lack of touchdowns sucks, but I think he's actually trending in that direction of being a pretty good tight end on a team through his first 2 seasons.
I'll say this real quick.
Rudolph had 53 catches that second season, so a little bit less than Kmet. But again, 9 touchdowns compared to the goose egg.
I'll say this. If we're only banking on Cole Kmet to score touchdowns in contested situations where, hey, you just need to be more athletic than the guy, box a guy out and be able to catch it, like that's on the Bears. Like, to only put him in those kind of situations. Like, you can schematically draw it up where Cole Kmet's just open. right? Like that can be a thing. And so maybe that last regime kind of only put it on Cole Kmet to make those contested catches. He didn't deliver, obviously, with the 0 touchdowns. So hopefully, again, going back to the scheme, can you get Cole Kmet more of those just better opportunities, to be completely honest, better situations where he can come down with some of these catches that are not as difficult. But of course, you want to see those catches being made, but it's going to be, scheme and on Cole Kmet to kind of get that touchdown production up.
Actually, I know a guy who can make difficult touchdown catches on this roster at the tight end position.
Who are you thinking of, Will?
Yeah, I don't need to say it. Everyone in the chat knows.
Yeah, but by the way, I agree with you that guy deserves more opportunity. Jesper Horsted, there's no question. Interesting just looking at Kyle Rudolph's stats on that comp. Do you know how many years Kyle Rudolph in his 11-year career so far has had more receiving yards than Cole Kmet did last year?
2. I don't know.
You
how
just guessed that?
I just guessed it.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, 2. Yeah, that was a really good guess. Yeah, he had 840 with 83 receptions in 2016, and then 634 receiving yards and 64 receptions in 2018. But there's a lot of years where, you mentioned the 9 touchdowns one year, 7 touchdowns another year, 8 touchdowns another year, 6 touchdowns. We all agree on that. Cole Kmet, that tight end position, you want to utilize that guy in the red zone, in the end zone, and score touchdowns there. I'm just saying, he is far from a bust of a pick at this point in his career, and I think that there's honestly some slander that's a little ridiculous for the expectation. People treat him like he's a top 10, Kyle Pitts type of draft pick. Come on,
different guys. Yeah.
Settle down with some of this. I'm taking the under though still.
It all comes back to the under.
But it's the Bears. That's the problem, and that's where I think we're gonna get more of that here in a second when we talk about the quarterback spot. All right, but we're gonna switch to defense real quick. Over under 3.5 interceptions for Jalen Johnson.
This one's tricky, but I know how the graphics come up.
Yeah, I'll go
first. You go first, Adam.
I will. I actually already hate my answer. I'm going to take the under because that's what I told our producers before the show. But I do think the Bears are going to get more takeaways this year because of the defense, because of Matt Eberflus's expectations. So for taking the ball away, you would think Jalen Johnson would get some of those. However, I also think I like Jalen Johnson a lot. And when you look at the other corners, who are they? If I'm game planning against the Bears, I'm not throwing the ball at Jalen Johnson.
And
why would you?
That's a good game plan.
So it's really about the targets there than anything else where I think I'm going to take the under. Because I think he's a really good player. And by the way, those 2 players, Cole Kmet, Jalen Johnson, drafted together in the second round a couple years ago. Those are not bad picks when you didn't have a first-round pick.
No. Guys that have come in and, become starters. But I'm going the over for Jalen Johnson here and only getting the 1 interception last season. And that was against Joe Burrow. And then I think the next 2 plays, there were also turnovers from that Bears defense against the Bengals. But I think he has all the intangibles to definitely do it when you add the scheme and what Eberflus wants to do and just the emphasis on taking the ball away. I think it's just going to be a new demeanor for this entire defense of how they're trying to approach it. But I feel like with Jalen Johnson, he just kind of looking at some of the stats in his rookie season, 15 passes defended. 2021, he had 9. And again, when you have Kindle Vildor on the opposite side, it's you're probably going to go target that guy a little bit more. But I think Jalen Johnson is easily capable of being that guy that can get over the 3.5 interceptions. Again, I have 1 more. I have 4. So not too much here. But I think just with the scheme itself, I'm buying what the Bears are selling. I'm going to buy there for the defense. I think Jalen Johnson can reach that.
I like that, Nick, although I'm going to disagree. I'll take the under. I love Jalen Johnson. Obviously, I mocked him to the Bears that offseason, and someone that I was really hoping would come to Chicago, and here he is. But he's only had 1 season with 3 or more interceptions between his 5 years combined in Chicago and his time at Utah. Other than that, though, now it's 2018 with 4. Other than that, he's had 1 last year. Then nothing is his rookie season. 2019, he had 2 in college. 2017, he had 1. So not a lot of ball production there when it comes to the turnovers, and I knew that, and I think a lot of people do too. Like, he's bigger with the PBUs than he is going to be with actually coming away with those interceptions. Adam hit on a really great point about the seeing less targets. And that, picking on some of the other defenders is something that's, super easy for quarterbacks to do. But I do believe this scheme and this system with him being more enabled to probably play with his eyes on the quarterback more should lead to some of those turnovers. But as of right now, just looking at his history, it's hard for me to say over. So I'll take the under, but barely.
Guys, we have a super chat from our own Jake Flanagan. He says, is this correct? Only 2 tight ends in Bears history with more receptions in a single season, Ditka and Marty Bennett.
With more receptions than Cole Kmet had last year?
Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean,
not too encouraging.
It sounds like Jake already looked this up.
So,
exactly.
I don't know. I guess it's correct.
We don't find any tight ends.
Oh, there he is. Jake's over there in the kitchen area and giving us.
No, that's a good nugget. That's that's wow. That's
Thank you, Jake.
This franchise in this offense, unbelievable.
Take that, Greg Olsen.
Well, I think Greg Olsen got the best of that trade.
To be
based on seeing that stat from Jake, it's probably a good thing that he got traded. All right, last one we have over under. This seems high to me, but it really shouldn't be that high in today's NFL. But it's the Bears. Over under 24 passing touchdowns for Justin Fields. I'm taking the under because I know better. That's pretty much why. Again,
I know better. We already know we're going to have the little snippet.
Now, you said something like the reason the number 24 was set as the number was
Trubisky.
it's 24 and a half, by the way. Trubisky had 24 in his second season.
I think he had 5 in one game, right, against the Bucks, or 5 or 6.
I think 6.
6. I was at that game. I forgot how many. Like the little shovel one. What I think it was Taylor Gabriel coming over the middle, but
so he had a quarter of his touchdowns in one game
against a crappy Bucks team.
Yeah. I'm taking the under again. I just know better. That's a high bar for Bears quarterbacks. So the theme here is I like all these players we're talking about, and I'm taking the under on the stats.
That's all right. Again, these are all very important players for what the Bears want to do moving forward, but I'm also under on the 24 passing touchdowns for Justin Fields here. Again, a lot is being built on the scheme, but who's he throwing it to? Like, I had Byron Pringle as the first touchdown reception of the year, and you have, of course, Darnell Mooney. We mentioned David Montgomery, and we'll see what they do in the draft, obviously. But that's still, I think, quite a jump because Justin Fields had 7 touchdowns this past in an offense that just didn't work, completely didn't work. But to make that jump, and I see in the comments a lot, everything's over so far. Come on, Adam. Jeez, is one of the comments in there. But can Justin Fields still show growth if he doesn't get that number? Yeah, and I think people are going to point to Trubisky, but look what Trubisky did in year 2. He had 24. I know that argument's going to come up if he doesn't, but Justin Fields can still show a lot of great things, even if he doesn't get the 24 passing touchdowns. How much is he getting with his legs, right? So maybe we get over.
If it's total, I would take the over.
Okay.
If it's total,
I would take the over
because I think 20 passing touchdowns makes sense. Like, I'm not predicting him to have 7 touchdowns again. Like, he should make a jump. I think 24 total touchdowns makes sense, and I would hope that they do a better job of utilizing his legs to his advantage in a safe way. Not run him like Lamar Jackson, but more like Josh Allen.
Find that balance. Yeah. What are you thinking, Will?
If we're looking at purely passing touchdowns, I'm also taking the under. And I know everyone in the chat saying over. It just shows how hungry Bears fans are for, I would say normal expected play out of quarterbacks in this league. But hopefully we'll get there here soon. But there's only been one quarterback in the last 8 years that has thrown more than 24 touchdown passes, and that's Jay Cutler in 2014 when he threw 28. Mitch had that 24 in 18. The Bears had 26 in 2020 combined between Trubisky and Foles, but only one quarterback almost in the last decade or so has done it, and that's Jay Cutler. And that was with, Mark Trestman's offense. And he had a lot of weapons, though, that he was able to play with there that Fields does not have. And that was like Cutler's, 7th, 8th season as well. So a lot more experience to kind of get to that point. But, like you guys, expecting a jump, it's just a matter of how far will this jump go in Chicago, where we just know historically quarterbacks don't get to play as well as they do elsewhere in the league. So I'll take the under. But boy, if he hits the over, just imagine, the chaos that will ensue in the city.
Nick Johnson in there, I saw in the comments, said that 24 passing touchdowns for Justin Fields is more believable than me dunking.
Wow.
See, I think what people need to understand is I was 18 years old. I turned 36 in like 2 weeks. That was half my life ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. And while I cannot deliver a video of me coming close, like I can't prove it now because I can't. There's no in hell I can dunk. I may still be able to get the rim.
Okay.
So
you could project.
So
we project.
So I think if I can deliver a video of me touching the rim at least, then I would think like maybe 18 years ago you could be like,
I think so.
Yeah, that happened. And I'm just going to need you to take that leap of faith with me.
I like it.
Adam, I knew it was a long time ago when you said videotape. Like, no one videotaped it. Like, what?
Well, no one had we didn't have iPhones back then. So, like, no one could have. Yeah.
We're aging Adam Hoge here.
A very skilled Polaroid would have gotten it done.
I can't remember the last time I heard videotape. But get to the break, and I'll head out. Great show, guys, and I'll talk to you on Friday, all right?
All right, Will. If you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
And make sure you're checking out all of our podcast live shows every single day. We appreciate all you guys that are in the comments, even if you're telling me I can't dunk. It's okay. You're here every day. We appreciate you. And make sure you're checking out our other shows, too. I keep telling you, the Bulls postgame shows are awesome. I was listening to our White Sox podcast on my way home yesterday because, I'm already stressed out about pitchers going down because this is what happens in spring training, right? Number one starter down, reliever out for the year. This is what happens.
This is fine.
And so I need to, get it out of my system. And those guys on the White Sox podcast yesterday, Vinny, Herb, and Sean holding the fort down. It was awesome. So you make sure you're finding those shows, not just the Bears one here, every single day, post-game shows. And if you go to allchgo.com, we have that premium written content for members. I have a 10 Bears things up from post-owners meetings last week. You can still check that out to kind of catch up on everything that happened last week. Nick and Will have been doing a great job breaking down some prospects that the Bears should go after drafting, so you can read all of that at allchgo.com by signing up for merchandise. Get that free T-shirt. You can buy more merchandise. You got the stickers on your computer today. I see that.
Yep. If you can see that, if you're watching, you can see the CHGO and our cool little mascot there.
And you do get a free shirt when you become a member. And then we have the members-only Discord in the CHGO Lounge. I'm going to set up a chat soon, post-show, with some Bears fans on there. Maybe even this week on that Discord. So check that out, and we'll let you know when that's happening. So that's all when you become a CHGO member. All right, we're going to close the show today with a discussion that was happening on social media yesterday. Make sure you're following us on TikTok, the CHGO TikTok, because you get to hear Luke Stuckmeyer ask if this is a tick or a tock.
That was hilarious.
Which was hilarious. But the question that they were asking us around here is our favorite bars.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, Adam, the only time I feel like I go to a lot of bars down here when I go on bar crawls.
Yeah.
And I feel like when my friends and I are around, Sluggers is always a good time. Always a good time anytime we can go there. You get some good drinks, but it's always a good vibe. And I feel like for me, I still need to explore more.
Okay.
There's, again, a lot. Maybe there's better ones, but Sluggers for me is what came to mind.
Well, my wife and I definitely prefer like divier bars.
Okay, yeah.
And like that's the thing in Chicago. You can't name the dive bars because all they say is the old style sign out front. Like, you know, you have to like ask the bartender what the actual name of the bar is because it's not even on the door. But I'll give you one that I think qualifies because it's been there forever. It's actually on the block I grew up on, which the irony is we moved. My parents moved off that block before I turned 21, so I never like was really able to enjoy it. But then I did as an adult when I lived back in the city. That's the River Shannon, which is at Hudson and Armitage, which is just a great spot. It's a smaller bar. They allow dogs there, and they have like games set up, and it's just like it's a cool vibe. So River Shannon's definitely up there. And then you know, when I like to go out to watch Badger games in the city, Will's Northwoods Inn. It's just a cool bar.
Okay. What about it in Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Yeah. What's like your what was your college bar going back?
Well, if you go to Wisconsin, you have like a top 10. You can't just pick
Oh, no,
one.
that's true. I was going to give some from Iowa City, but I was asking you.
But State Street Brats is obviously a place you have to go. I think Wando's is still there. Brothers is the one that got knocked down because you know they had to build like a school building or something, like because people apparently have to learn there.
I guess.
What is that all about? Knocking down bars for
more
classrooms. What are you doing? Yeah, Wando's was a good one. I'll tell you where I used to watch Bears games when I was up there because like a lot of times they're playing up at the same time as the Packers, so you can't watch the game unless you went to a bar. And that was Jordan's Big Ten Pub.
Okay.
Really cool place because they had like 3 different rooms. And what they would do was they'd have the Packer game on in one room, like the big room, because obviously it's Wisconsin, but they'd have a back room that they would have all the Bears fans in. And then they would have another room that they'd have like all the Vikings fans in.
So no Lions? Lions are just left out?
No. Lions are the Lions. But it created a cool atmosphere, especially sometimes like if the Bears were playing the Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in separate rooms. But that was always where I'd walk down the street because I lived with all Packer fans. Ooh. All of them. So I would, have to walk my ass out of there by myself and just like go watch at Jordan's Big Ten Pub. That was a good one too.
You know, I liked the sports column that was in Iowa City. My uncle used to go there, and that's the reason why I went to University of Iowa. But when it's your birthday, you can get like 25 pitchers for $25.
You went there just for the bar?
Just for the
that bar?
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a lawyer at some point, and then the bars were there, so it all worked out. But Spoko, which is what we called it, and also Brothers was also the spot in Iowa City just to hang out, watch a game, watch the Hawkeyes, whatever.
Did you say 25 pitchers for $25?
I did. So, and you know what we used to do?
We're talking 100 beers.
Ridiculous. Yes. And what we used to do, we had a friend who used to work there, and it was like my birthday every other weekend. It's like, hey, I'm turning 21 again. He's like, Nick, get out of here. Just get out of here. But, then he didn't work there anymore, so we couldn't get the pictures.
What was the bar in Iowa City that was like, was it?
It's not Union, is it?
No, it was like named after airplanes or something.
Oh,
Airliner. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, we took a couple road trips over to Iowa City for.
I've never been to Madison.
Man, this is nothing personal. Those Hawkeye fans.
I remember you telling me
among the meanest. And by the way, I'm not saying
nice.
Badger fans are saints because I've seen some bad stuff happen there too. But my trips to Iowa, whether it was as a fan in the stands or as a sideline reporter for Northwestern, man, those fans can be
they get rowdy,
mean,
and
the complete opposite. Nebraska, nicest place in the world. I can't believe it. Like, I want to hate Nebraska, but they just treat you so – it's almost aggravating how nice they are to you. Like, both times I went there with Northwestern won the game, and they would stand on the street and applaud the buses as they drove away after the game. Who does that?
Maybe that's why they're not good at football. I don't know. But shots fired.
They were 25 years ago.
Yes, like the Bears.
But Nebraska's back. Definitely this year, Nebraska's back. For sure. That's an annual tweet of mine when they lose the opener. Because no team gets hyped up more than Nebraska in August. And then they lose to Colorado in the first week, right?
Always happens.
Yeah. All right, guys, we should get out of here. But a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone chiming in today. We'll continue to, come up with fun ideas and fun discussions like this as we get through the offseason and the Bears just kind of sit around waiting for. I'm telling you, though, some players are going to fall to them eventually. Whether it's in the draft or in free agency or some guy in August, like they're gonna sign some more people and fill out this roster.
So.
They better, because I think they have 57 players on the roster.
They're a
right
little
now.
short.
You're allowed to have 90, Ryan.
Matt?
Anybody?
Bueller?
No, so that's actually going to make the offseason fun. There's going to be a lot of rookies and a lot of young players to kind of sort through, and hopefully they can take advantage of that opportunity. But follow us on Twitter at CHGO_Bears, at CHGO_sports. I'm at Adam Hoge. He's at Nicholas Moreano, at Will DeWitt as well. The L's, though, are ones. So you can find right there on your screen if you're watching on YouTube. If you miss any of this, remember, podcast always available. Wherever you're listening to your podcast, make sure you find it. Hit that subscribe button. Watch it on YouTube. Hit the notifications, too, when we go live. We'll have some, some shows that get moved around here and there with breaking news and things like that. You'll always be notified then when we have some emergency podcasts. Thanks so much for watching today. We're back again tomorrow at 11 a.m.